What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's another Chaos to Comeback video. It is still August 20th, which is what it was the last video I uploaded. I got a little bit of good news today, and I'm just kind of decompressing from all the stress of the last couple of weeks. The last week and a half, whatever. So, good news. I was stressing about having to call this bank today to get the funds that I wasn't aware that I had packaged up and sent to me in a check. And I had to warm up to this. I couldn't just do it first thing in the morning. I just had to prepare mentally for the potential for this to go sideways. Mainly because when I called last week, a week and a day ago, the people who I talked to on the phone were extremely rude, yelled at me, like were just obnoxiously difficult to deal with. And so I had to prepare for it. There was a gauntlet of having to type in all this different stuff to a robot and say this and do that and push that button and this, that, and the other thing. Like, I'm talking about 5 minutes worth of stuff before they let you speak to a human being, and if any of it goes wrong, you get to hang up and call back. The thing will hang up on you if you don't get everything right. Do you ever see The Bourne Identity, where Matt Damon goes to the Swiss bank and they tell him, you have one chance to enter in your password for this account, and if you get it wrong, your account is locked out forever? That's kind of what this feels like when you're trying to call this bank. And so I had until this Saturday to claim those funds, or it was going to be a big problem. So I prayed about this today. I asked God to just grease the skids so that when I call, this goes smooth like it should. And it was about a half an hour long phone call. This was not easy. But the woman who answered the phone was extremely polite the whole time. No problems at all. No attitude, nothing. She was really friendly, easy to deal with. She told me that the 5-day process of verifying my address, whatever that meant, was complete. And she asked me, how do you want the funds? And I said, you can send me a check in the mail. That's the easiest way. And so she had to do a bunch of stuff. She had to ask me a few questions and this, that, and the other thing, and said, when it was all said and done, 7 to 10 days, you'll get a check in the mail. And she verified that because I called and because I requested the funds be delivered in a check, if for some reason anything goes wrong, that deadline of the 23rd of August no longer applies. So I got reassurance at the end of that phone call. It was a half hour of my day, and it was stress. The whole time I'm sitting there fidgeting and just like, I'm polite. She was very polite to me. I'm very polite until someone cops me an attitude, especially when it comes to customer service. So I'm supposed to be getting a big check in the mail within 7 to 10 business days, whatever that is. I do know from experience that when they tell you 7 to 10 business days, it usually doesn't take that long. So, but 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. It could be like the 3rd of, I would say 2 weeks from today. I should have a check to deposit into a bank account that will allow me to go buy a car, cash. I did a quick, as part of like cooling off and trying to like reacclimate to the drop of my stress level. I went on Auto Trader just to see what would show up. Set the range for like 20 miles. Set the budget of $6,000. And different other factors, and just played around with it till I got about, how many vehicles did I bookmark? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I bookmarked 8 vehicles that showed up for sale. And out of those 8, I took 4 of them that looked like they would be like the best options, like the most appealing. And I ran them through Grok's AI tool just to kind of double check on my gut feeling. And so, for example, this isn't necessarily what I'm going to do, but I just wanted to see, like, if I had a $6,000 cash money budget, what can I find within a 25-mile bicycle ride of where I live right now to just go look at a vehicle, say, okay, and do it. The best out of everything I found with a quick search was a 2007 Toyota RAV4 for about $4,000. Has 149,000 miles on it. But they're pretty, Toyota RAV4 is pretty reliable. You can go over 200,000 miles with those, and I would feel confident if that was the thing I bought. From the pictures, there's a couple scratches on it, but it's not bad. I wouldn't say this was in bad shape at all. It's pretty good shape, especially for being that old. The glove box. The glove box, there's a top and a bottom glove box. The door to the top glove box is broken. To replace the top glove box is about $100 to $200, and however much of your time. When I had to replace the glove box door on my Mini Cooper because when I bought it, it wouldn't close right. And I tried all kinds of ghetto fixes, but you'd just be driving and all of a sudden the glove box would just boom, 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 and it would just open while you drive if you go over a bump or whatever. The latch was broken. And you can't just replace a small part. You had to replace the you had to replace the glove box because the door and the glove box are all one unit and it just pops down when you pull the latch. I think I got a replacement on eBay, and it had a key. The one I had was missing a key, but I tried every ghetto fix under the sun, and I finally gave up on it and just caved in and bought a glove box. It was probably $100 to $150 on eBay. The installation process was a pain in the ass, as most things on cars are these days, because it boiled down to not being able to access different screws that you had to unscrew. And so I had to do some crazy shit there. But, okay, so if that's the only thing wrong with this vehicle that I would want to fix, it gives me a little bit of room to haggle. It'd be like, let's take a couple $100. Come these fruit flies. They always show up when I turn on this video camera because the light, they're attracted to it. I can't get rid of them 100%. There's always one flying around. I'm getting fed up with the insects here. But it's not that big a deal when it comes to... it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of it all. I'm still happy to be here at this place. I had bugs at the last place, here and there. They got giant mosquitoes flying around. I had ants once. I put out some taro traps. Never had the ants come back. Haven't had ants here yet. Good, that's one positive. But out of all, I'm not even going to list the other vehicles that I saw. So far, the best one that was out of a half hour to an hour of looking online was a 2007 Toyota RAV4 for about $4,000. And you're not gonna, I mean, for a $6,000 budget, I would have money left over to do other things. This is $4,000, so I'd have a lot of money left over after buying something in that price range. I'd be able to take care of the insurance and all the paperwork and BS. But it is a private seller, so there would be a process there. Me personally, I would rather just go to a dealership and buy something and have all the paperwork done right there and just drive away with a vehicle. That's where I'm at mentally right now. I don't want I don't want to go through another 2 weeks of bullshit with government bureaucracy and paperwork and all this dumbass shit. I just want to have a vehicle. If I have the ability to just go get one. So, but I mean, I'm just looking. I'm just looking. What do we got? What's close by? If I set the distance to 50 miles, I set the thing to manual transmission, and that will pretty much put the kibosh on anything that you manual transmission will cut that shit right off. If you want a stick shift, it'll make it easy. Here are the 10 vehicles within 100 miles. That's kind of funny. But there was a Ford Ranger, but it had high mileage. Some of these people won't even put an actual picture of the vehicle they're selling. They'll just take a picture off the internet of the same vehicle and say this is, but that's not even, if you're too fucking lazy to take a picture of the car that you're selling on Auto Trader and you're just gonna stick up some Google search photo, don't even waste my fucking time at that point. This isn't like you're selling some widget or some it's not like you're selling something on Craigslist that's under $100 and you could get away with doing that. You're selling a vehicle. People want to see the actual vehicle that you're selling. It's like when somebody puts up an ad on Facebook Marketplace for a rental unit, an apartment to rent, and they don't put any pictures up of the apartment. Just trust me, I've got an apartment. If you're that much of a lazy piece of shit this day and age that you can't upload a picture of your rental unit with the ad where it doesn't even cost you anything to include. This isn't like the 1979 where you have to put a want ad in the newspaper and people are just looking at the little want ads in the newspaper for a verbal description of the place. You can put pictures with it. If you choose not to, why would anybody even call you at that point? But I mean, not a lot of stuff shows up for that price range, but I don't need a lot of stuff. I just need that one. I need a unicorn. I need something that matches my budget. And no, a 1995 BMW 540i is probably not, even though it's $5,000, it's got close to 200,000 miles on it, and it's a BMW. The first time something breaks, big money wallet. That's what it stands for. Big money wallet is coming into play. You're going to need a big money wallet to fix your BMW. So, no, don't need it. Don't need that shit in my life. Toyota. I'm pretty much like Toyota. If I'm looking for something that is going to be budget friendly and last and not, fall apart on me, etc. I don't know. This is a Toyota Yaris sedan. I don't even know what that is. It looks ugly. It just looks like I don't even think I'd want to drive that, but Now I can look for a car. I can take a little bit of time and just kind of queue up some things that look interesting and spend a few minutes doing it. So, I mean, it is what it is. You go to Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get a whole nother, bunch of crap. There's going to be a lot of BS where, like, dealerships will list cars for a certain price, and then that's the down payment. You know what I mean? And, like, that's how they get around whatever limitations they have or whatever. There's a lot of options, though, for at least, once you cross the $5,000 mark, you should be all right in terms of being able to find something. And, I'm just kind of poking around while I sit here and talk to you guys. But the gist of the story is, all right, I'm done. This buggy piece of shit app. So that's where I'm at. The phone call went smooth. Pretty much the only thing in my bucket now is wait for the check. I can breathe a sigh of relief. The new phone is sitting next to me. I'm going to start setting it up and start transitioning to it. I'm heavily leaning towards keeping the new phone number and getting rid of the old phone number. The biggest problem there is all the different people I have to update about the phone number change. So it's going to take a while. But I got at least 6 spam phone calls today. At least 6. All Texas area codes. And this has been happening since the day I got this phone with this phone number. The first time I opened up this phone with the phone number it came with, the phone I'm currently using, the very first day I had the phone, I got at least a dozen spam calls and bill collector calls from somebody who used to have the phone number. Because nobody knows that this is my phone number now. It was day one. And the phone would ring 15 to 20 times a day with spam calls. I had to set Do Not Disturb on within half an hour of having the phone. And so when it's an unknown number, when it's I'm not answering that shit. I don't even know if it's a bill collector for me or a spam call for me or a spam or a bill collector call for somebody else. I'm getting calls about my stepbrother. I'm getting text messages to this phone asking for my stepbrother that I haven't talked to in fucking... I couldn't even tell you the last time I talked to the guy. At least a decade. Somehow they got this number and they think that that's his number, and they're calling asking for my stepbrother or sending text messages about some debt he owes. And I'm like, this whole thing has got it. I mean, other than the fact that it's tied to everything in my life, and I don't have that many people I need to update. The probation officer is one. But if I just take time over the next week, I can probably transition out of it and then shut this bitch off. But on the flip side, you never know. This phone number, this phone right here, and this phone number is the reason why this check showed up out of the blue. If I had changed my phone number, the landlord who owned that house would have never been able to get a hold of me. Never. There would have been no possibility of somebody getting a hold of me. So I'm just like, what do I do? These are things I gotta keep your phone number, change your phone number. It's strange. It's a strange thing. I want to but right now, I know I've got to handle this within the next week or two. I don't trust Verizon or T-Mobile as far as I could. I trust Bill Gates. Bill Gates has a new butter company. He's making butter out of human poop. He's turning poop into butter, and they're selling it at the fucking stores. I'm like, what's the name of this one? I can't believe it's butt butter. Like, is that what it's called now? I can't believe it's butt butter. It comes out of your butt, and then you're putting it on your fucking toast. Bill Gates motherfucker wants you to eat bugs, take a vaccine, die. Now he's selling you poop butter. Where the fuck was I even going with this? But I trust Bill Gates' poop butter more than I trust T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon. I'd trust a gallon of milk in the fridge 3 months after the expiration date before I would trust any of these phone companies. I would trust Dr. Fauci's shots more than I trust any of these phone companies. So it's like, if I try to keep my phone number and port it to my new account, will that go haywire and cause me to not have any phone number at all? I don't know. So these are the things you got to think about. And I have a phone, it works I'll check it in a minute, but last time I tried it out, it worked. Last time I called it, but I have not received a single phone call on this new phone. Not one. Not one text message, not spam, nothing. So the appeal of having a fresh phone number that hasn't been polluted yet, and knowing that if and when the phone does ring, it's probably going to be for me and not some random dude who didn't pay his bills, but me for not paying a bill or have it, or whatever. Somebody's coming after me. I just don't know, what the best thing to do is here. And so, but in the grand scheme of it all, is that really bad? Are these really bad problems? No. I would give anything to have had these kind of problems when I was living in a freaking homeless shelter in Jamestown, New York. Other problems, buggy software, Notion, the note-taking software that I use. I gotta ditch it. I have to now. It's been getting progressively worse. Every time they release an update, it becomes more buggy, more awful. I used to use Evernote for years. I paid for an Evernote subscription. I used it so much. And all of a sudden, the software started to take a dive. The user experience, bugs, everything just started to go downhill. And it got progressively worse. It started getting bad, and then over a span of two years maybe, it became completely unusable. They released an update that completely broke the app on the Android phone, and that was a major reason why and that was a major thing for me because I needed it to be synchronized with my phone, and it was all a big giant mess. And I had so many things tied to that app that was the day I started looking elsewhere. And I had to replace multiple, instead of trying to find one app to replace everything Evernote did for me, I had to basically find 2 to 3, maybe 4 apps to replace each thing that I used Evernote for. Note-taking was primary, that was number 1. Notion replaced it. I used Evernote for slideshow presentations at work. Kind of like PowerPoints, they had this really cool feature where you could take a note and turn it into a slideshow almost automatically. I had to start using Keynote, which is Apple's version of PowerPoint. basically it's the same as PowerPoint, but Keynote is the Mac. So, and I like Keynote better than PowerPoint. So I just started using Keynote to do those slideshows. Problem solved. It comes with your Mac. It's free. So free solution to a problem there. And there were a few other things that I used Notion for, Evernote for, and I found replacements. And once I had all the replacements in play, I ditched Evernote. I stopped paying for it. I just let it sit there. I still have an account to this day. My notes are still there. And every once in a while I log in there and I just prune it and just try to pluck things out. And I was trying to gracefully bring stuff over to Notion over time. And Notion has a number of features that I've used and grown to use more. It has a robust no-code database system. So you can create real relational databases. And with Notion, I created my own accounting software. So it's basically like I have Quicken or Microsoft Money in Notion that I built myself using a tutorial to get started. I used somebody's video on how to start this, and then I customized it to my own liking. And so I do all of my accounting in Notion in a database, and it's a true relational database. I have a payees table, I have a table of accounts, and then I have a transactions table that everything goes into, but that transactions table can be split up into multiple views, so I can say only show me this account, that account, whatever. I can do charts at the end of the month. I have a chart each month showing exactly what I spent in every category that I track. I mean, it's just like having Quicken or Microsoft Money, and I built it myself, so I know how it works. If I don't like something, I can change it, etc., etc. But this app just keeps getting more buggy. They released, one of the big problems with Notion is it never had offline notes. You always have to be online in order to use Notion, because you can't access your notes if you're not on the internet. Evernote had the ability to synchronize your notes offline. So you could mark a note to be available offline. So if I'm traveling and I have a whole bunch of notes about the trip that I'm going on, you could force Evernote to make that note available offline. Then I'm on my phone and I'm on my trip and I've got different things marked on this note file that I need for this trip and this journey that I'm taking. Even if I have no internet connection, my notes are there. If I change anything, it will synchronize with Evernote in the cloud once the phone has connectivity again. Notion's never had that. And so that's been a drawback. That's part of the reason why I kept Evernote around, a free version of it, because I could synchronize a note on my phone with a note in the cloud. But then Evernote took that away from the free version, so you can't have it on two devices at once. You can only log in through a web browser or the app, but not both at the same time if you don't want to pay. They just keep dumbing down the free version worse and worse over time. But people have abandoned Evernote. Like, they lost their market share, went down the toilet when their experience and their apps started to become so bad. People were fleeing that platform, and like they were losing more than half of their customers when you're talking about millions of customers. It was all over. I mean, it was newsworthy how fast they were hemorrhaging business because of how bad the app got, and people were just sick of it. We're leaving, we're doing something else now. So I got into Notion, Keynote. I use an app called Miro, which is a whiteboard app that allows me to take notes and do all kinds of crazy stuff. That's buggy, and I'm trying to replace that, but I'm not at the point where I'm ready to ditch it. But I'm entrenched in that piece of software. That's a hard one to ditch and replace with something else. There are alternatives out there, but I think the alternatives are just as bad. So it's really kind of like you're voting for a Democrat or a Republican, at the end of the day, you'd get the same shit. So it's just like that right now. But Notion's got to go. They came out with this new update that allows you to have notes offline, and the whole app is just broken now. There's so many bugs and problems that I've had just in the last 48 hours that the app updated to the newest version. It's just like an endless buffet of new bugs and problems. And I'm like, all right, you pushed me over the edge. Finally, I gotta ditch this shit. And so there's an app that people are down with right now called Obsidian. That's what most people are flocking to now, to get, because a lot of people are ditching Notion. They're sick of it. They're just as sick of this app as me. I pay for Notion. It's like $12 a month. It's not a ball breaker, but I don't want to pay for it anymore. I don't want to fund their shitty bug-riddled operation anymore. They have no support. If you're a paid customer, if you have a problem, if you have a bug, you get the same machine-generated email in response to a bug report or when you're having a problem, and they tell you, give us your operating system, your version number, take a screen recording of your problem, and a few other things. And then they just say, thank you, we're looking into it. And that's it. And like, they just gaslight you. They basically gaslight you and tell you that you're wrong and that you're not having a problem. And like, they're the worst customer support I've ever seen on an app. Ever. Like, I've never seen for a software app, I've never seen worse support ever. Adobe, if you find a bug and you report it to them, and you can actually talk to them, they're pretty responsive. And I find bugs with Adobe software frequently. 9 times out of 10, I can deal with it by going to do a Google search and finding an answer somewhere. Every software company has bugs. You're not going to avoid this, but some companies are so bad that their apps get worse and worse over time, and eventually they become unusable. And Notion is pretty much there. Not 100%, but the problems that I've experienced over the last 2 to 3 months are way more significant than anything I've dealt with before, and it just keeps getting worse. And every week there's something new. Bugs, problems, things that they will never ever fix. Companies like this will never fix a bug. Companies like this will never fix the bugs that they find. Or that other people, customers, because customers are now the new testers. When you buy software from a company this day and age, you are the tester. You are the person that they hired to find all the bugs and report them. They don't bother testing anything before they release it. The only things that companies will test and make sure with this kind of stuff is anything that's under regulatory stuff, like credit card info, sensitive data. I worked for a data analytics company in the healthcare space, PII, protected information, PHI and PII. Personally identifiable information is PII. PHI is protected health information. PII, social security number, financial information, things like that. PHI is your health records. Those are supposed to be private. One glitch, one exposed record could land a company in millions of dollars of problems. Just one exposed healthcare record that's visible by the wrong person. They do audits. They have to be 100% all the time protected from anything that could expose people's health records, expose personal identifiable information. But they don't give a fuck if the software is buggy and it's a piece of shit and it barely works and you can barely use it once you log in. They don't give a shit about that. They really don't. They care about anything that could get them in financial hell. If there's a bug that prevents you from logging in, they'll fix it. Strava. I'm logging in right now just to see. Every now and then, Strava will have a problem where your rides or your maps or your calendar or certain things won't load. And they'll have a status page saying, we know about the problem, we're fixing it right now. Like, it's a major piece of the app that you've got, 3 million people trying to use the app right now, this minute, and nobody can see the map, which is the most important part of the app, or nobody can see their rides, or nobody can see their activities. There was a glitch where I tried to upload a GPX file of my ride and it just kept being rejected and it wasn't going in. It wasn't giving me an error message, it would just stall and never upload. And a GPX file is like 20K kilobytes. It's nothing. They're not big files. Should be like 2.5 seconds to upload, be processed, and in your activities. Well, they had a status update page saying, we know that there's a problem uploading GPX files. I came back like a half an hour later, there were like 8 copies of the same bike ride sitting in my queue. Because every time I tried to upload it, it didn't go through. But then all of a sudden, they fixed whatever the bug was, and I had 8 copies of the same file sitting there. And I had to delete all of them but one. But they'll fix a bug like that. If nobody can upload a GPX file to Strava, they're going to be getting hammered with customer support, emails, texts, blasted on Twitter, everything under the sun by tens of thousands of people in a span of 15 minutes. So they'll have to fix it, or they're going to piss people off to the point where they'll cancel their subscriptions and go somewhere else. But if it's a bug that everybody has, but they're not like breaking the system, like they have bugs where your total mileage doesn't add up correctly. They don't give a shit about that. If it works good enough, okay, fine, it's good enough. Who cares? That's their attitude about that. And so Notion has gotten to the point where the bugs are starting to become, like, they're starting to make the software unusable, and I'm constantly having to find workarounds for the bugs, and they'll never fix the bugs. They're never going to fix any of these bugs. I reach out to them on Twitter and blast them on public threads almost like twice a week now when I find things that are wrong. They don't even respond to you. If you can put them on blast on public. I'm clicking on their most recent post, and they've got a post from, 5 hours ago? 5 hours ago, here it is. There's 9 responses to a post from 5 hours ago, and they're just that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people put it on blast, like just reporting how bad the update is. And so what does Notion do? Instead of responding to the people that complained, they plastered a bunch of their own responses to their own post, just to bury the people's complaints further down so that you have to scroll farther down to the replies to see the people complaining, because their own responses to their own post show up at the top. So it's like they will go above and beyond to bury your complaint instead of addressing your complaint. Because they just don't give a fuck. They do not care about their fucking customers at all. They don't. They're just riding on this wave of they got somewhat big, and they think that they can just shit all over you, and They don't care about losing customers because they think, well, if we lose 20% of our customers, but we save all this money by not supporting anybody and fixing any bugs, we'll be more profitable that way. And that's like, well, fine, keep doing that and see what happens. Keep fucking around, you'll find out eventually. These kind of companies die. Evernote's gone. I mean, Evernote's not gone, but I don't know anybody that uses it anymore, and back when I used it, it was popular. But people don't really use it anymore. And they keep trying to like fix that. Their website is a piece of junk. Like the whole thing is bad. Their price has gone up more than double. It used to be like $50 a year. Now it's $130 a year if you pay for a year in advance. And there's limits on the paid plan. I mean, you're probably not gonna blow up the limits, but the free plan is almost completely 100% useless now. You can't do anything with the free plan anymore. The only thing that they have is I can log into my Evernote account from years ago and my notes are still there. And I can access them and I can read them and I can get what I need out of them. And there's so much stuff. There's 10, 15 years worth of stuff in there. So it's not like I can just migrate it all out of there. But every now and then I go through and I'm like, okay, what can I get rid of? Like, I just prune it. I just try to like go and no. And then they try to trick you into clicking on stuff. Like you can't log into the free account anymore without all these pop-ups coming at you trying to get you to pay. Or give them your credit card information, and they don't give you a close button for it. You have to figure out where to click to make it go away. But I have random stuff in there that at some point there's just a lot of stuff I can get rid of over time. And, it gets more and more, like every time I go in here and look, I'd be like, okay, I can delete all these things. I can delete there's a lot of stuff I can just get rid of. Or I can migrate it to Notion, and now I've got to have another note app. Obsidian will be my new one. I had a job where the corporate IT department on our company laptops, we had to log in with a VPN to our job to get on the internet. You could not connect your computer to the internet without a VPN. The VPN was put on by the company. And as a result of that VPN, certain applications and websites were blocked. Google Docs was blocked. We would have vendors that would work with us and send us links to Google Docs, and we couldn't read or interact with the Google Docs that our vendors were sending us because IT blocked Google Docs and everything Google related from our MacBooks. And we were trying for months to get them to ease up on that. Anything that you can share a file through. So Evernote was blocked, Notion was blocked. There were a few others that I tried that were blocked. They wanted you to use Microsoft OneNote, which is absolutely horrid. It's the worst note-taking app there is. I refused to use it. So I just kept poking and prodding until I found an app that was usable. And I don't even remember the name of it. It got around the corporate IT block, and I paid for an account. just to use it for that job. I can't even find the name of it. I have it installed. NoteJoy, which is kind of like Evernote, kind of like Notion, but they hadn't put it on the block list yet. So I was able to use NoteJoy to have my notes synchronized on my personal Mac, my work machine, and any other computer, and my phone. So that no matter what, I have access to my notes for my job. And it was a user-friendly piece of software. And there are notes in there that I still have access to. Nothing that's proprietary to the company that would even matter at this point. Maybe a few screenshots of some shit I designed I could use in my portfolio. But at the end of the day, it saved me. It made my job a lot easier being able to take notes and like not just be limited to the notes that I had, having it through Microsoft OneNote, which is, oh my God, if you've never used that, it's abysmal. It's so bad. I couldn't do it. So I took the time to figure out how to get around the corporate IT block and do it myself. So I'm just kind of, I'm just chilling right now. I'm relaxing because that phone call went well. I'm in the home stretch. I'm about to level up. If I get myself a car, I've got a phone in my name. That's my phone bill. I should be able to go back to PayPal, use that phone number for my PayPal account, and not have to worry about PayPal being shut off because my phone number doesn't match my account. And I should be able to continue down this path of self-sufficiency, having a phone bill in my name, my own phone, instead of being on my friend's family plan, which was so grateful for that. That's helped me out for a year and some change. A year and a half it's been, give or take. April, May, June, July, August, a year and 3 months, whatever it is. It's been a lot. It's been helpful. I mean, if you add it up, a monthly fee for a year and a half for me to have a phone that he wasn't like, I'm not worried about you paying me back. Like, that's a lot. I mean, these people have done so much for me. And so have other people too. It's mind blowing just to think about all this. And it's like, I'm just like, mentally, I'm shot today. But it's not in a bad way. It's just, I'm like overwhelmed by everything right now. And, but this is good news. This is so, it's mind blowing to me that I'm going to be able to get a car. Maybe sometime in September. Somebody on the live stream, which I haven't even set up the stream yet. But y'all know. Somebody on a live stream a couple of weeks ago before I think it was the Thursday before I got that letter in the mail, said, I think you're going to get a car in September. Well, it's looking like that. It's looking like that. By the end of September, I should have a car before the weather gets cold as it ever gets here. And that feels phenomenal. Like, that just feels so beyond. I'm so just like, I'm having the same burnout, like the same decompression burnout that I had when I moved into this place, and just completely, I could lay down right now and sleep for 5 days without getting out of bed and probably not even feel like I got enough sleep. It's just, that's where I'm at. And it's so, it's crazy to like think about how far I've come and where I've been and where I was and all of it. It's it just it's I just can't shake the whole feeling of I just can't even shake the whole everything that I've been through for I just can't shake everything I've been through in the last few years. Like I'm leveling up. I'm like this close to saying I leveled up. And by leveling up, having a car, a phone in my name that's mine, my bill, a car, like I said, and just like my own place, like things just boom, 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 boom in a row. Like I'm no longer like not having the phone is like this symbol of being independent and not relying on anybody else anymore. Not that like people don't want to help or whatever, but just breaking free from that dependency is like a symbolic leveling up. And if I have a vehicle at the same time, a freaking car, to just like, I'm telling you, I will probably win. And if I get this car, I will probably just go camp for the weekend. I'll probably drive down to Galveston to the state park. And I'll probably just look for a campsite. From what I remember, campsites, it's not super expensive. $35 a night for a campsite with electricity. If you're looking for like a tent only, $20 a night with electricity. Hike in, primitive campsite, which is my style. Tents, picnic table, fire ring. $15 a night. $15 to camp. Generally close to the beach. Probably not on the beach, but probably walking distance to the sand. And there's pros and cons. It's too hard. There aren't that many places you can camp on a beach on the sand. This actually looks kind of crappy in terms of the photo. Oh yeah, these look like terrible campsites. No trees, wide open space, all crammed up together side by side. Primitive campsites, $15. Yeah, these look pretty bad. You could drive up, park. They're all right next to each other. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not. This doesn't look like a place that I would enjoy camping, to be honest. To be honest, but it's $15 a night to sit by a fire and sleep in a tent and have some music and like just drive somewhere and relax for a couple of days. I think it would be fine. Go swim in the ocean. Go chill. Like the Yeah, it's all, there are no trees. But I mean, it is what it is. That's all I'm saying. Go camp, fine. It's a big open campsite with no privacy, no, you get a fire ring, a picnic table, and a spot of dirt for $15 to sit in front of the fire and chill. It doesn't look like you're going to find any firewood anywhere. Bring your own firewood. It's not you can go pick through the forest. I mean, I could find a place out in the woods to go camping too. That's private and quiet and surrounded by woods and nature and probably better than this. I'm just interested in checking out Galveston. There's a part of me that when I knew I had to move to Houston and I'm going to have to find my own place, there's this if you're going to have to live here, why not go live on the beach and be a beach bum? If you can be a beach bum, be a broke ass beach bum and, live that life. Why not? Why not go find a place to live in Galveston? There's a bike shop in Galveston looking for a mechanic. As far as I'm aware, they still are. Why not go down there, walk in and introduce yourself and say, hey, it wouldn't be real feasible for me to do that right now, but what if let's just see how long would it take to drive there. If I'm on a drive, it's an hour and a half drive. That's not an insignificant drive. 77 miles to go to Galveston each way. I mean, 70 miles is how far I lived from Pittsburgh, and I used to have to go to Pittsburgh all the time. But what if this, for example, this bicycle shop or whatever said we could use a mechanic to come in a couple of weekends a month or what, just some weekender job. Get in your vehicle and drive, stay at the campground, work a couple shifts at a bicycle shop as a mechanic and basically be hanging out all day. Go sleep at a campground for the night. Enjoy your time there like you're it's almost like a work vacation, a working vacation. Make a couple bucks, drive home on Monday, whatever, and have the week. Work Saturday, Sunday, whatever they're open. I don't even know. Just, having a vehicle would they're open from 9:30 a.m. to 6 on Saturday and Sunday. What if you could be a weekend mechanic? Go down Friday night, camp. Camp at the campground, $15. Work a couple days, 8-9 hours, whatever they pay. Get 2 days worth, and then drive home for the week. And that's your side gig. And you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday again to live your life and to do the freelance and all that stuff. So, and I could get to know Galveston and possibly find a place to live in Galveston. And if I did find a place to live down there that was cheap, maybe this landlord where I'm living right now would work out a deal or something to get me out of my lease. Or if it means I have to ride out the lease till the end, I'm already 3 months in. It's only 9 months. I don't know, man. It's I'm just thinking out loud creatively, how getting a car could change my life. It could be a drastic improvement to my life. Just being able to go someplace and explore Houston and like see things and do things here and experience, like get a vehicle with a bicycle rack on top and take my bicycles out and go for rides, start getting back into my photography. Like so many things could just, like there's a light at the end of this tunnel and it feels good. And I really had a hard time making that phone call today until I just got to a mental place where I could deal with whatever frustrations might come out of it without losing my cool. And so I'm glad I waited to make that phone call until I was in the right place mentally. But now there's like this level of decompression going on this afternoon after I made the phone call that is significant. It's like the same kind of decompression that I felt. I'll give you like every example I can think of over the last year. The day that I got in the rental car to drive to Houston, the rental van, and pulled out of the Enterprise rental car parking lot, the decompression, my stress, like the level of stress that dropped it's so beyond comprehension and description, the level of stress I was at. And then half an hour later, I'm down here. The next time I had that kind of stress drop was the day I moved into the tool shed. My stress dropped significantly just because I have my own place to live now. And then my stress dropped even more moving in here. The day I moved in here was like a major release of so much pent-up stress. And now that this check magically shows up, money fell out of the freaking sky right when I needed it. Like, I'm feeling this. Like, my body is... I'm feeling this. Like, it stopped becoming a want, and I'm like starting to need to find a way to give my body a break from the abuse I've been dishing out over the last several months. And I'm thinking, I've done a lot of different adjustments to try and compensate for the abuse. And I'm trying to eat a little better, making steps in that direction. And I'm trying to do other things to watch my health and make it a bigger priority. But I really need to get off the bike for 2 weeks, at least. I need my toes to heal. My toes are like the biggest sign right now. My right foot hurts so much when I come home from these bike rides that I can hardly walk. And it's the kind of pain, it reminds me of when I used to play soccer and I'd get an injury and the injury would just nag at me for the rest of the season, the next season. It wouldn't go away. I'd finally just be like, okay, I can't play indoor soccer for the indoor soccer season for the winter. I'll pick back up the outdoor in the spring. And that 3-4 months of not playing soccer would heal my foot, would heal my injuries. I had a back injury, I had a foot injury, I had some other things. They would not go away. I would have to, for my foot, I would have to tape up my foot a certain way because I couldn't walk. Like, I was having a hard time walking day after day after day. But I found out through Dr. YouTube, there's a certain way you can tape up your foot for that injury and you can run on it and it doesn't hurt. And I would tape my foot up like that, sports tape. And I would tape my foot, my heel and everything else. I would tape it up a certain way and I could play soccer all night, no problem. But guess what? The next day when that tape's not on my foot and I gotta walk around the office and go to work, I'm limping. And so this pain would not go away. 6 months it's there. I have to tape my foot up for every soccer game, every time I want to play frisbee, every time I do anything. I got to tape my foot. Go on a hike, got to tape up my foot. I was going through rolls of sports tape to tape up my foot over and over. Finally, I can't play soccer right now. Taking 3 months off. Foot healed. No problems. No pains. Never come back. It was from an injury, from a specific thing that happened. It wasn't like a gradual thing. It was like one bad step and bam, my foot was busted. And it took 3 months of not playing soccer to heal. That's what's going on with my foot right now with the cycling. There are certain things in my toes that on the bike ride into the bakery, I get a little irritated to the point where I know if I had to ride my bike 100 miles today, I would be sore. But 25 miles into the bakery, it's just minor irritation. I work all day. I don't have problems all day. I've had other toe problems while I worked at that bakery that have healed. That I had foot problems from the 500, 600 miles of walking in Jamestown, New York that followed me here to Texas. And when I'm working at that bakery, I couldn't even do certain things with my feet. They healed because I don't walk like that anymore. I'm not walking 600 miles in a year. Not now with the bicycle, but now that the bicycle has replaced it, 3,000 miles on the bike, now there's a problem with my foot. And it doesn't seem like anything I do is going to make it go away except for get off the freaking bike for a minute. Once the toe heals, once the foot heals, I can probably go on a 200-mile ride and not feel any pain. And so I'm getting there. And I'm starting to get concerned. What happens when my foot is just on fire and I can't I can't ride anymore? I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think of what do I do in that point? How do I tape up my toes? What do I have to do to my toe? Do I put duct tape over the problem area? And will that help? Just what are things I can do to fix this? And what the real answer is, get off the freaking bike for a month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever. Just let your toes heal. You'll be fine. Just let your foot heal. Can't heal if you keep aggravating it. But I don't have that choice. And so now this money just falls out of the sky. Here you go. Go get a car. My mind is blown. I'm just completely blown by this. The money's been there the whole time. The whole time since the day I got out of prison, that money's been there. And I had money when I came home handed to me that was from the sale of some of my stuff. Not much. It wasn't even $1,000. It was $700-800 that I had. The day I came home from prison, that was cash. There was cash in an envelope from selling some of my stuff. And that's all I had. But then I had $8,000-9,000 in a freaking bank account I never knew about. And believe me, if I knew that money was there, I would have never been homeless. The whole path and everything would have been completely different. And there's no I'm not bitter about that. Don't take that the wrong way. It's just kind of mind-blowing that I had no idea that this was there. I went through being homeless for May, June, July, August. 4.5 months of being homeless, 115 days of homelessness, followed by having to live with a friend, followed by struggle after struggle after struggle. And now I find out all this money's been sitting there. And it's not you can't live off of $8,000 for very long in today's world. I mean, a freaking $100 won't even buy you enough groceries for a week. Rent, but that would have given me a start. I mean, I just would have, could have, should have. You can't go back in time and fix these things or change them. But it makes me wonder. It doesn't make me wonder. What I'm wondering is, what's next? What does God want me to do next? There's a reason that he had me go through this whole thing. And now he's handed me that money that was always there. Here, by the way, you have this money you can use for a car. Here you go. It's just like, whoa, man. And as soon as I buy a car and do a couple other things, that money's gone. That money's gone. Get a car, pay for the fees and the paperwork and the government bullshit and the insurance and everything else. I'm sure my car insurance isn't going to be cheap. Whatever the case may be, get a 6-month policy to get myself off to a good start, whatever. Pay for it all at once. Whatever I do, there isn't going to be a lot of money left over. There might be enough money for me to go see my kids for a minute. That would be really awesome. That would be a worthwhile, like that would be something. That would be something right there. And it's just like, I can't even like, yeah, the campsites at I'm looking at the campsites at Galveston Island. They're not on the sand, but these the tucked away primitive campsites that have a car space to park. The beach is right freaking there. So yeah, I mean, I could go camp on the beach, close enough. You're gonna hear the waves. It's right there. They're like 100 feet away from the water, with a campfire and sand and ocean to swim in, and whatever else you can do when you're done. Get on my bicycle and tool around, park at the campsite, get on a bicycle and cruise around the neighborhood, do whatever, explore, enjoy it. There's a bicycle track. There's a freaking velodrome here. What's it called? It's not even that far. There's more than one bicycle track. There's more than one. Well, there's this one. Where the hell is that? There's one closer to me. I guess it's just one. The Alkek Velodrome. I thought there was more than one. So anyway, there's a freaking velodrome for track racing. If I have if I can get a track racing bike, which that's not even expensive. I have everything I need. I mean, I probably have to get some spandex and goofy bike clothes in order to, race. But I could get into track racing. I could start doing track races. And start... I've never done that before. We had a bike track in Pittsburgh, but it wasn't an actual velodrome built for bicycle racing. It was a... It was a driving course. It was basically a driver's training track that they turned into a bicycle racing track. And it's not a true oval. It has like a little loop off to the side. But a true velodrome on track bicycles and it's so, I mean, I can't even how much fun would that be to get into some track bike racing? And all I gotta do is drive to the spot, have Track bicycles are so easy to maintain. It's a one cog, one cassette, or one. It's a fixed gear bicycle. One cog in the back wheel, a chain ring up front, a set of cranks, fork, wheel, seat, handlebars. There's no brakes. You slow down by slowing down your pedaling. Track race bikes are like the most minimalistic bike there is. The only thing you ever have to maintain are your tires and a chain. You have to your chain. And I mean, for the amount of riding you're going to do on that bike, you're going to be fine. Like being able to go to track bike races would be freaking awesome. That would be fun. And you would meet all kinds of people who love to ride bikes like you do, and it would be like just an easy thing to drive down to. And from where I live, it's about an hour away to this bike. I swear I saw there was another bike racing track somewhere. I could have swore there was another one somewhere. But whatever. A straight up bicycle racing track to go experience doing that and get into that as like a hobby or something to do for fun and get to know people and all that stuff that goes with it. I mean, there's BMX tracks and stuff like that, but I swear I thought there was a track closer to where I live, but I could be totally wrong about that. It's not like like there's gonna be a velodrome. It's not like a city's gonna have 3 or 4 of these things. So so it is like that could be fun. I mean, that could be fun, and it wouldn't even cost me a lot. Track bikes are cheap. Like a get started track bicycle is not as expensive as a normal bicycle. They can be as expensive as you want them to be. You could spend $10,000-$20,000 on a track bike if you wanted to, but I don't know, man. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and thanks for hanging out. That's all I'm gotta say. I am like shot out, but you will have already known. See, if you're going to be one of these butthurt people who are mad that I'm shooting a video on August 20th and you're not going to see it until like the end of August, the beginning of September, if you come to the live stream every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, you'll know everything that at least you'll know like what happened with the money that fell out of the sky and all that stuff. And now I'm just like, I just need to let it sink in and just kind of like regroup, refocus, and I'm trying to get my energy back, and this would be a damn good start. With that, I'm going to say peace out.